SME Summit for the year 2025. It's taking place in Switzerland, in Davos. What are Brand South Africa's main goals in participating and engaging with global SME leaders? That is the big question for this afternoon. And we're going to be unpacking that and looking at this particular summit for this year, as well as just what's taking place. What are we missing out on? What's happening there? And we've got our guest who's going to be joining us on the line to tell us more.
All right. We had a conversation with her last week when we were in Umhlathuze. This time around, she is in Davos. The spotlight is on small and medium-sized enterprises this week as the Global SME Summit 2025 unfolds at the Davos Congress Centre in Switzerland. It will be running until the 5th of September, as Mmatsheko had alluded to. Across the 3 days, the agenda has covered and is covering everything from emerging technologies to sustainable business practices, providing fresh perspectives for executives navigating today's evolving economic landscape. And representing South Africa at this influential gathering is Mpumi Mabuza, General Manager of Stakeholder Relations at Brand South Africa. Good afternoon to you, Mpumi. I don't know, is it afternoon or is it morning there in Switzerland?
It's exactly the same time as it is that side. And I must say, though, Umhlathuze weather was much better. but the skies are clear, so it's decent.
I love that. Mpumi, the Global SME Summit is quite a huge international platform, right? And we want to know, why is it so important for South Africa to have its presence there? Talking about the SME space and the business landscape of the country.
No, I mean, that's such a great question. You know that SME sector, the formal SME sector in South Africa, contributes, I think it's about 19% to the GDP and employs close to 33%, I believe. And that's a huge driver for the country. And we know, I think as South Africans, that if we don't develop entrepreneurship for the SME sector, we really won't grow our economy. So for Brands of Africa to be here, really it's important for us just to learn from other countries how they have developed and evolved the SME sector. I was listening to a presentation earlier in the day from a gentleman from India, a minister actually from one of the regions. And it's fascinating how diverse their SME sector is. You have small businesses playing in the aerospace and defense space. We have small businesses that are in high-tech and aviation sectors. And that's a challenge, I think, for us, is how do we then as South Africa get to a stage where we can enable that type of development and growth in the SME sector so that we can actually push for the creation of employment opportunities.
Mpumi, let's talk about, I mean, very similar to, the participation in KwaZulu, but of course now you have an international platform where you can showcase Brand South Africa. Let's talk about just in depth in terms of how Brand South Africa is using events such as this one to strengthen the South African brand on a global scale and to attract investment opportunity.
There's a small group of entrepreneurs from South Africa that are here attending the conference as well, which is really great from diverse sectors. You've got social entrepreneurs, you've got in tech and innovation. You even have in the distillery space, there's a gin manufacturer. So we've on our side have created just an opportunity for other companies that are here from other markets to be able to engage with them. We'll be also hosting network sessions and also participating in the panel. We even have a representative from the JSE that's here that really works on supporting SMEs and financing. So that B2B aspect and opportunities that are created by platforms like this are really impactful for those companies, but also we are able then to add our voice in explaining what the country has to offer for businesses. When we say small in South Africa and small in another market in Europe or in India, as I mentioned, it's quite different. So they are potentially really big investors that can come into South Africa. So it's an investment attraction program for us. It's a partnership attraction program for us. And it's important for us just to showcase what South Africa has to offer and a lot of opportunities that South Africa has to offer global SMEs.
We're currently in conversation with Mpumi Mabuza, General Manager of Stakeholder Relations at Brand South Africa. They are currently at the Global SME Summit 2025, which is unfolding at the Davos Congress Centre in Switzerland. It will be running up until the 5th of September. It started on the 3rd, and we'll catch up with Mpumi and find out what those conversations on the ground are like and what are the progress being made from the different countries that we can learn from on the African continent. We continue the conversation right after this.
The Midnight Snack, 12 to 3 a.m.
Young couples or young people that are getting married, we often hear of divorces, that they're getting divorced, and it's quite worrying because when we attend these weddings, we want to see these people flourish and celebrate 30-year anniversaries. What do you think is the main challenge that is facing newlyweds?
We say that tell me how you were raised and I'll tell you how you love. So when we see people getting married, that's not where the relationship actually starts. The relationship starts with how you were raised, what you were familiar with, because we are attracted to what we are familiar with. If you don't have a background where love was prominent, where love was authentic, it's going to be very difficult for you to manufacture that in later life. So our upbringing has something to do with it.
The Midnight Snack, every Monday, 12 to 3 a.m. with Chanduko Ligege. Tune in and turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa.
It is 9 minutes before 3 p.m. Central African time. We continue our conversation with the General Manager of Stakeholder Relations at Brand South Africa, Mpumi Mabuza. They are currently at the Global SME Summit 2025. It's day 2 of the summit. And Mpumi, let's talk about some of the learnings that you have taken as Brand South Africa in ensuring that SMEs in the country are progressing, are empowered. What are some of the learnings that you have taken from other countries and their testimonies over the past day and a half?
I think one the key element that I'm not sure if I was happy to learn, but I think SMEs, unfortunately, around the world have the same challenges when it comes to financing. There's a big gap and attracting that is capital and that investment. So SMEs have got similar challenges. But what I've also learned is how countries create environment or policies that will allow them for that type of growth. And not every country has policy that are specifically geared towards growing SME sector. It has to be intentional and it has to be an influence. You can't compare South Africa's states versus Germany right now when it comes to that. I don't think Germany does not have a need to have those type of policies in place, but South Africa does. And there's some really great policies, insightful ones that India gave as an example. And they are quite intentional around building and growing that sector because for them, I cited 19% contribution to the GDP. I think in India, SME sector is over 33%, the figure was given. And that does not include, as the gentleman said, mama and papa shops. It does not include informal sector. This is a formal sector. And now 33%, that's sizable, and that makes an impact to the economy of the country. And with South Africa having a high unemployment rate, we really, really have to nurture entrepreneurship. So just to get back to your quick question, just to summarize, there are masterclasses and discussion sessions that one can definitely learn from. And it's important for South Africa also to create an environment where SMEs can then be trained and can be supported in terms of the development so we can avoid that failure rate of SMEs. As much as we have, I mentioned that 19%, you find that in 5 years, not all of them are able to sustain their businesses. I think 2/3 of SME businesses then fail. And some of it is not because of their product or service, but just basic things like infrastructure or marketing, things that we can train and develop, and it's important for us to encourage the sector to do that, or just from a Brand South Africa perspective to build awareness around what the South African government has to offer, because there are those systems in place, but maybe people are not fully aware of the opportunities for training and development, and even financing, just to make sure that we disseminate that information, that it reaches all the wide corners of South Africa.
Mpumi, much of what you're saying sounds really progressive when we look at, offering support and resource for the space of SMEs, and also just from an empowerment perspective, enhancing global competitiveness, all of that wonderful stuff. Let's just expand on facilitating market access then from a brand SA perspective. What are you going to be exploring then post this particular gathering in terms of expanding reach, or the conversation on expanding reach, not just internationally, but with just relevant partnerships and collaborations on the continent and globally as well?
I'm glad you mentioned the continent, because I think that's the easiest access point. When companies are at a stage where they are export ready, I would really encourage them to actually start with our neighbors. A lot of our products, anyway, the big companies export a lot of their products into the rest of the continent in Africa, and SMEs must also really from a Brand South Africa perspective, our mandate is around marketing the country, and we are able to then tell the story of what South Africa has to offer, what type of products they have to offer. But our sister departments actually create platforms and encourage participation in trade shows, and they create opportunities for small, medium-sized businesses to have access to market. There are a lot of trade agreements that I think considered by the DTIC, and it's really, I think, one has to invest in the required research. This in the research, the time to understand what type of trade agreement South Africa has with a specific country, and whether there are opportunities then to sell your products or to service that market. From us, we will definitely continue to fly the flag of the country, build awareness. If the rest of the world doesn't know that South Africa even exists, that we have really a growing tech and innovation sector, we have solutions in the finance sector, then there won't be any type of interest in the market.
Mpumi, you mentioned earlier that the Johannesburg Stock Exchange is also there. They were planning to showcase innovative financing solutions to foster financial resilience and inclusive growth for SMMEs. Talk to us about some of the specific programs or strategies to help these SMEs strengthen their financial stability and access these investment opportunities globally.
You're putting me on the spot. Cleola has not been on stage yet.
Oh, not yet.
So I haven't seen her presentation. I'm really looking forward to it. But I think it's such an important topic that she will be discussing. The element of financial resilience, and we know that the biggest struggle is the capital, is the sustainability, and it's also to do with finance. So if there are tools and systems that are available to SMEs that they need to be aware of, I think this is a great platform to share it. And also I'm going to challenge her to support us when we are back home. As I said, it's important to disseminate the information and share it. And she was indicating that they do that, but we need to just make sure that the message is spread as far as wide as possible, because it's a pity when small businesses don't succeed just because there's a lack of information, when the support and the systems are there to guide them.
All right, we're looking forward to that feedback from the JSC. But from you, Mpumi, thank you so much for your time this afternoon and for shining a light on the work that Brand South Africa is doing in telling the African story to the rest of the world, especially from an SME point of view. And we hope that more collaborations, more opportunities to grow this space so that we can employ more people and shine a light on this sector in South Africa and Africa and beyond. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you. I appreciate the time as well.
the voice of Mpumi Mabuza, General Manager of Stakeholder Relations at Brand South Africa. They're currently at the Global SME Summit 2025 unfolding at the Davos Congress Centre in Switzerland. It ran from the 3rd of September, which was yesterday, running up until the 5th of September, bringing together SME leaders, investors, and industry experts from around the world to exchange ideas, explore innovation, and build partnerships that can transform industries. It's now 3 p.m. Central African time. Let's get the latest news with Matapelo Mahape.